Hey everybody, welcome to another broadcast. So glad that you guys could join us here. We're just going to give people about another minute to join in, and we're going to go ahead and then get started. Happy Friday to you, June the 21st, 2024. Another nice day out. Well, it was warm. I'm looking at 105 right now where I am sitting. And we actually got some humidity in the house. Oh, yeah, that humidity started kicking in here. I was like, wait a minute, Arizona now. I didn't sign up for no humidity down. But apparently, yeah, there's a little humidity in the air. I stepped outside last night before going to bed. And I was like, hold on. It's a bit humid out here. So what the heck? Yeah. So it does get there's a little humidity in the air, but you know, again, you just use common sense and or use some good sense, I should say, because more and more I'm realizing that good sense isn't as common as I would think it is. But yeah, it's certainly has kicked in, and where we are is a lot of wind. We got a lot of, there's some wind in the house. And yeah, it's pretty nice. Other than that, I'm just I'm just being careful, where I'm going and how long I'm out there and all that. I was, like, man, I could do this, with the had the window down for a little bit and enjoying the breeze. I actually like being, driving and and having the window down, even if it's over 100. The only reason why I can't do it but for so long is because my phone overheats. So I can't do it but for so long. And so I end up having to close the windows and put the AC up. And yeah, that's what I'll end up doing there. So anyway, I'm glad to have you guys here. I hope you guys had a wonderful week and lots to talk about. And we're just going to be touching on this and that and going forward. And we're going to talk about, we're going to dive into this story regarding Tony Evans. As many of you know, Tony Evans is was a pastor of a church down in Texas, and a great ministry. Has been around for a very long time. And, and then he recently made an announcement about some sin, and like most preachers do, they never tell you everything. They just simply just leave it kind of hanging out there, and then let you figure it out. We're going to talk about that and and how it looks like it's being handled, and then we're going to talk about how the religious world and how people tend to how they react and respond to this. And it's so predictable. I actually, when I first heard about it, I actually wanted to do a video to take you step by step on what was going to happen, and because it's the same playbook, and so far they hit point number one. I said, man, I should have did that video. But anyway, we're gonna talk about that. We're also gonna revisit the WNBA analysis that we've been doing here, and again, it's something that people have been talking about for a very long time in terms of the state of the WNBA. Again, you may not be interested in pro sports and don't care about it. I, for one, am not really that invested in it. But the reason why the story is kind of interesting to me is because it touches issues that unfortunately many of our people refuse to actually talk about, and but also, from a business and marketing perspective, I like talking about it, this story as well. And so we're going to touch on that. There's some new stuff that I came across that's not really new, but it's been out. So there's a couple of videos I want to show y'all on that. We're also going to talk about the impact of fear and anxiety when you go to the doctors, and it's something worth noting, because doctors a lot of times will basically prescribe things to you based on the fear and anxiety that you are exhibiting when you go there. And we're going to talk about that. Let's see. And then we'll also talk about this. It's an unfortunate part of the discussion, but we're going to talk about it anyway. This ongoing culture of self-hatred that we have in what's called the Black community. And, it's every day I see what we call the Black community. It's all collapsing. And as I told you, I predict in the next 25 to 30 years, what we know as the Black community will not look like what it looks like today. And it's just being real. And we just have to be honest with that. And are there things we can do? Yes, we can. And things we've been talking about on this platform. And we'll continue to talk about it. So that, and we may take some calls towards the end of the broadcast. So if you're up to doing it and you want to be a part of the conversation, we'll have a time perhaps towards the end of the broadcast where you can call in and be a part of the conversation, and call in for whatever it is that you want to talk about as it pertains to, the discussions that we're having today. Also going to talk about the this whole thing now where you have a couple of states now that are saying that they're now mandating that a copy of the 10 Commandments be posted in classrooms and all of that. And of course, the Christian world is, they're very excited about this and saying that, yes, this is right. We're taking our nation back. And I would think the Hebrews would be happy about that, but I don't know if they are or not. But nonetheless, it is something we're talking about, because there's a lot deeper things that are going on and are at play that not too many people are going to talk about what we're going to be talking about here as it pertains to that issue. So we'll squeeze that in there as well. So, okay. So anyways, thank you so much for tuning in, and appreciate it. I will, this weekend, between tonight and tomorrow, I will post on our community page the links again to our presence on the Odyssey platform. Now, as you know, if you haven't figured out, if you've been behind on your video watching on this platform, we've told you that BondTube is no longer with us. BondTube, we decided to loosen and let it go. Simply because of the fact that, like I said, I think it served its purpose. We started it a few years ago, and it went extremely well. Tons of information that was put on there. It was especially useful and instrumental to helping our people getting the information that you need as it pertains to the jab and all of that, because there was a lot of things that we could not say or present on this platform. So we had to go and said, you know what, we're not going to sit up here and be, whining, the fact that YouTube is taking this video down and doing that. Instead of doing all of that nonsense, let's go ahead and create our own platform. And then we can do that. And thanks to, for some of you out there, we were able to make that happen. And not only that, we had a ton of other information, documentaries, teachings, all that stuff was all on there, and we was able to keep it going. I've been saying, I said from day one, that was not a platform or anything that we do. I'm not one that's going to be always up here begging anybody for money. I'm not going to do that. Okay. People, you, like I said, you value what you invest in what you value, and I just leave that up to to people. Is there, as I've said before, even what we do here, is there a cost associated with it? Yes, absolutely. There is. Do people contribute to what we do here? Not really, but we do what we can do. You know what I'm saying? But there's other things that, we have Samba Tree, that people do shop there, and we greatly appreciate that. And that has been a blessing to many, many people when it comes to, like what we saw with my BondTube. However, after a while, it just became very apparent that the value of it, at least according to the people, it just wasn't there. So why continue it? So we just decided, For a long time, I was footing the bill myself. So why continue that? You know what I'm saying? So we decided to let that go, and it's going, so, but we do have a backup of many other videos that we have here on YouTube is actually available on a platform called Odyssey. And let me see if I can actually pull it up here on the screen here so you can at least see it. And I will actually put the when I do post the information again on the what you call it on the community page, you'll at least see it. So this is the page. It's called Odyssey. So take note of how it's spelled. It's odyssey.com. And you'll find us on there, and many of our videos are on there as well. And I'm mentioning this because I believe this very soon, my wife and I, we're going to do another health and medical broadcast, where we'll be able to talk about a number of things that we're not able to address on this platform. And we'll be doing it over there. Okay, so I'm just letting you know so that you can, see, oh, I know what he's talking about now, so it's going to be over there. This Sunday coming, we might be going live here. We got some exciting new things that are going to be, we're going to be releasing over on sambatree.com. And I'm very excited about that. So we'll go more into that. And again, for those who don't know, this is the our store that we have here, sambatree.com. And we have a lot of things. We just was able to, I think, re-release the Guinea Hen Weed. We got our music there. We got all kinds of stuff, copper jewelry. We have, different powders, oils, tinctures, dental stuff, just a whole bunch of things, a whole lot of things that we have on here. And so if you do get the time, please go check us out over on sambatree.com. This store is growing, and it continues to grow thanks to good people like yourselves who have not only are just, I never wanted to have a business where I felt like people were just, it was like a handout. You know what I'm saying? I actually, my thing is, if I'm going to have a business, I want it to actually be meaningful, that you're going there because it's actually helping you. Not that you're like, just trying to support, and we do appreciate that. But for us, the greater thing is when we see that it's actually doing something for the people, and the tons of testimonies and stuff that we've gotten from people who are seeing different, positive changes taking place in their diet, in their health. It's just been exciting to hear. I just got a text message just a couple of days ago from an individual who just told me that, and I was going to try to get them on today, but they said, maybe on another day, just told me that they went to the doctors, and the doctor says you no longer have type 2 diabetes. Diabetes is gone. And so so we're very, very grateful for yet. That's another testimony there. I told y'all, and we're very serious about that. Our intention, our goal is to totally annihilate, to destroy high blood pressure and diabetes. Those are the two things we want to destroy. We're not here to compromise with it. We're not trying to negotiate a ceasefire. We're here on the battlefield for one thing, and one thing only, is to destroy, wipe them out, annihilate it, so that it's never again associated with black culture or black people or grandma or uncle or auntie or whomever. No, that's grandma, she got her diabetes, grandpa, he's got, no, they ain't going to be, if you around us, our goal is simple, is to get rid of it, to annihilate it, period. And so that's one of our missions when it comes to Sambatree. So that's the kind of stuff that we provide there. So make sure you check it out. Again, the website is sambatree.com. Okay. All right. So again, thanks to everybody that's in the chat. Very much appreciate y'all being here and joining us. This week, we actually kicked off a number, of course, you guys know we've been doing these, these little comics here, just really trying to challenge the people to think, use your brain. I keep saying this every time when I post these things, use your brain. And, we get people that come around and they get so offended, and because they just, like I had one guy, earlier saying, what was he saying? He was saying something to the effect like, usually when people ask these kind of questions, they have some kind of ulterior motive or something like that. And you're trying to discredit the Bible. Why? How can I if the Bible is truth, how can truth be discredited? How can truth be discredited? If it's truth, then you ain't got nothing to worry about, do you? You have absolutely nothing at all to worry about it. If it's absolute truth, if you're standing on truth, you ain't got nothing to worry about, do you? You don't. You just sit there just plain face, like just sitting there just chilling because, hey, it's fine because it's truth. But the moment you start asking questions, particularly when you're dealing with people who are religious, they have serious problems with that. And the first reaction oftentimes is to deflect and to somehow come back on you and try to make it seem as if you are the problem and you're causing great confusion out here, and how dare you even question these things, and who do you think you are, and all of this stuff. And then but it's like, what's wrong with it? These are observed things I have observed, in all my walk, in the religious world, and the things don't add up. They don't, and so instead of me doing a whole long post, which I normally would do, I said, let me just put it in the cartoon. And I've been getting more activity with people interacting with a cartoon than they would read something. So I said, let me stick with the cartoons. You know what I'm saying? Even with the shorts, I do shorts sometimes, and people don't even read the shorts. They don't. They'll just look at the thumbnail and jump right into the comment section. The one that I just did, what was it? This one right here. Let me see if I can play this one. This is a video that I saw on TikTok, and this young lady was going in talking about how she doesn't observe Juneteenth. Let's take a listen to what she had to say, and then right after that, you'll hear what I had to say on that. Okay, here we go.
I also want to say this about Juneteenth. I don't celebrate it. I don't celebrate any days that is not mentioned in scripture. Any days that are not the holy feast days of Yahweh the Most High, I don't even do it.
Now, I've heard many people use this line of reasoning for not acknowledging a national holiday, but the truth is that the Bible is hardly a gold standard when it comes to religious purity. The feast day of Sukkot, which involves the construction of temporary shelters or booths, well, it was the pre-existing Canaanite harvest festivals that were already doing these practices to honor Baal and Asherah. Or how about the Feast of Trumpets, where a shofar is blown to commemorate the start of a new year? Well, it was the Babylonians who were already blowing shofars for the same thing, but they were doing it to honor the god Marduk. In fact, the entire Hebrew calendar is almost an entire rip from the pre-existing Babylonian calendar. The most obvious flag is how they both have a month named after the god Tammuz. What holidays you choose to acknowledge should be your choice, but using the Bible as some acid test to measure others is just plain dishonest. As always, look these things up for yourself.
I also want to say...
Oh, stop. Okay, so there you go. So I put the calendar up there, and as you can see, hold on, let me go back.
Calendar is almost an entire...
Hold on, there you go. And just to show people, and I had comments coming in, they were saying, well, brother, you got the dates wrong. That ain't true. I said, the calendar is right here. I literally have a calendar right here that you have side by side, the Babylonian calendar and the Hebrew calendar. Now, in the video, I just mentioned the Musu. This is the Musu right here. All right, you see right here. This is what I think it's pronounced. One of the ways it's pronounced is the Musu. But the Musu and Tammuz, it's the same thing. The Musu, it means Tammuz. It's just their way, the Babylonians' way of saying that. But what we did in a video that we, I think it was in the Who and the L series, we went through each and every one of the Babylonian months. Now, if you take note, here we go. If you take note, If okay, get
Also,
it right.
want to say this
Hold
about
on for a
Juneteenth.
second.
I don't celebrate it. I don't celebrate any day.
Hold on. Let me get back. This thing starts acting up when I make it bigger. Okay, here we go.
Calendar is almost an
Here we go. All right, so I'll make it a little bit bigger here. So what we did in that series, Who in the L series, we actually went through each and every month of the Babylonian calendar. Now take note of the Babylonian calendar. You got Nisanu, and then Hebrews Nisan. Then you got, and then it goes on. You know, you can see all this stuff. Now notice the similarities of all of these months. So anyway, so we went through each and every one of these Babylonian calendars. Each one of these names on the Babylonian calendar are tied to or linked to a deity, a Babylonian deity. Each one of them. So the question is, why would the Hebrew calendar basically copy this? The same thing. Why would you copy it? Come on, set apart people. Why would you copy this? And then I know I get the people that'll say, well, you know, it says the 5th month or the 6th month or the 7th month or whatever in some translations. They don't even bother listing all the months because they know if they did, it's going to be like, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. This looking just like the Babylonian calendar because it is. And so I already had some comments of people who were saying, you know, now wait a minute, now you're just getting the dates wrong. I said, I got the calendar right there. Did you even bother to look? I had one comment here just to give you an idea of I was like, wow, this person went. Where was it? Where is it? I had one person say, bro, you got a clean shaved head. Leviticus 19:27. Ye shall not round the corners of your beard, of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of your beard. Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 20. You worship the Sabbath or wear your fringes? Juneteenth was made up by your enemies. It went on and on and on. Didn't address anything in the video. Nothing. And what else? It was someone said, I can't even find it now. Hold on. They went. Oh, it was probably. I think it was another. There was another post or something I did, and instead of even addressing anything that was in the post, when I tell you they went on to this whole thing talking about how we got to stick together and we got to become unified, and don't you know these people trying to kill us and all this. I was like, what is you saying? That has nothing to do with the post. What are you talking about? And I was talking with someone this afternoon, and I was saying, you know, when you interacting with religious people and you begin to actually, and you're that person where you're actually beginning to quiz or question things, instead of them sitting down and saying, okay, well, let's think about that. You know, I've never thought of that. Or you know what? That's a point. Well, you know what? Let me hear you out first. Now let me go and look into it. And then we'll come back and maybe I'll have something to say. But what religious people do, armed with social media, oftentimes what they will do is right off the rip, they're automatically out the gate. No, you're wrong. How you doing this? And then they'll immediately start quoting scriptures. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, you know how if you have a toy and the toy is like, mama, 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 right? And then somehow you drop the toy. All of a sudden the toy is like, man, what you talking about? Hey, it starts doing all this other stuff. That's just how religious people are. When you start asking real questions, instead of them just turning around and saying, you know what, let me think about that. I never thought of that. It's automatically like, well, Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 17, for the wages of sin, the death, to get to God is eternal life. Jesus wept and then one day, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Can we just have a regular conversation? What are you talking about, a regular conversation? We can't do that. We gotta stick to the law, statutes, and commandments. No matter what you say, we gotta stick to it. That's it. Why are you questioning? I say, whoa, wait a minute. Like this guy here, well, you got a clean shaven head, what does that got to do with the post? So we encounter a lot of that when we're dealing with people. The more and more I start asking questions with people on things like this, it's like their brain can't handle it. You understand what I'm saying? This is what religion does. It's like you cannot step back and say, you know what? Let me actually think about that. Instead of just your knee-jerk reaction is, I'm going to bury you with scriptures and then give you a shalom mishpachah and then, or bless you and keep you moving. You know, I pray you better make it. I hope and pray you make it. I've had some of the same people already. They got my place in hell already established. At least that's what they think. For asking questions. They're like, you better watch it because you're going to end up in hell. Hell is waiting for people like you for asking questions. So YouTube is becoming a much more difficult place for me to really have any kind of real questions for anybody. I mean, when I'm posting these things, I just post it and keep it moving with my life. Now, that's what I do because it's just some people. And one person I had to block, and I checked their profile, and they said, I am the reincarnation of the prophet Ezra. Yeah, this is who's in your midst. Okay. This person literally said they're the reincarnation of the prophet Ezra. And then they said, and of the Shekinah something, the male, female Shekinah. I was like, whoa. Why are you here? Why are we talking? Why are we talking? Anyway, I can talk. One thing about religion is that there's no filter for people who have mental issues. There really isn't. I can tell you stories of the many people I've encountered, and it's the church is open, but there's no choir. The church is open, but there ain't no sound system. I tell you, it's the church is open, but there's no pews. Everybody up in there standing. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, it's, and I'm like, wow, this is something. And that's why I'm just so grateful to be in the time that we're in right now, where it's okay to ask questions. We're not crazy. We're not stupid. Those, for those of you who grew up in the church, going back to Sunday school, even in now, there's a lot of questions that you may have had. And instead of people answering them directly, they're just, well, honey, listen, you just going to have to wait until you die to find that out. Huh? I got to wait till I die to find out a basic question? What kind of foolishness is that? Anyway, so it's been really interesting, to say the least, and we're going to keep on doing them. I'm having fun actually making them, and we're going to keep doing these little cartoons and stuff. Speaking of which, this week we also launched, and this is in conjunction with Samba Tree. We just launched, we're calling it the Vital Force. We had to think on that name. Vital Force, your body's defense team. And this is going to be a short, limited time cartoon series that we're going to do. It's not going to be animated, where it's going to be movies. I can do that. There's technology that I can use, tools I can use to do that. I just don't have the time to be doing that. I could do it, but man, I ain't got the time to do all that, but we can do it this way. And so the purpose of this is to get people engaged in a fun way into seeing the value of your immune system. All right. And so that's what we're going to be doing. I was going to have one put out today, but I got caught up in some stuff. So you might see one go up tomorrow, and we're going to be looking at different areas of our immune system. And just in a very fun way, one that you can even bring, if you have younger people, maybe they'll find some interest in it as well. And then we're going to make this interactive. And so one of the ways we're going to make it interactive is I came up with 4 theme songs for this series. Yeah, I'm very serious with this stuff. And so anyway, so let me let's see. What order should I do this? Because there's one other thing tied to this I want to share with y'all too. But yeah, so it's going. So every week, you know, every episode or whatever that you'll see one of the members. This is just a few of the members, because see, your immune system is very vast. So this is just some of the team. See, the other team, they're flying over some other parts of your body and handling business. So this is the only part. These are the only team members I was able to get a snapshot of, because all of them busy, right? So yeah, so every time we do one, it's going to be focused on a particular part of your body. It's going to be a limited time series. We'll have it up here on this community page. So make sure you keep your eyes and ears open. Yeah, it's going to be fun, and you know, we'll be doing our thing like we do over here. I tell you, we be doing all kinds of stuff over here, man. You may see me skydiving next week or something, man. Serious. Anyway, so we came up with, so what I'm gonna do is, over the next couple of days, there's going to be, we're trying to figure out what would be a good theme song for this series, and I'm going to play for you just a couple of them, and we're going to, just so you can get a general idea of what we're looking at. Okay. And then what I'm going to try to do is upload all 4 of these songs over on sombertree.com. They're free of charge. You won't have to pay anything. They'll be free of charge, but you'll just have to go through like you're buying something, but you're not buying anything. I just want to put it over there so you can go there and then you can download it. It'll be free of charge. And then we'll have a poll, and then you guys can decide which song you think will be the best for this series. So who knows, it may take on a life of its own. But anyway, let me go to, hey, I thought okay, maybe, is this the first one? Okay, hold on, let me hold on. No, it's that. Hold on. My song's all, okay, maybe this one. Okay, all right, so let's start here. Just to give you an idea, I'm not going to play all 4. I'll just play a few of them, okay? All right, here we go.
We are the league, protectors of the core, fighting all the invaders. We won't lose this war. Viruses so strong, germs they might swarm, but we've got the power of pushing through any storm. Time to join the fight, keep the body right, won't back down today, only knows the way. Call on defenses, strong and true. We're the body soldiers fighting all for you. Bacteria beware, infection don't you dare. With all our might and care, we'll catch you unaware. Time to join the fight. Keep the
All right, so that's one there. And then let's see this next one here. My son said he said, well, why don't you try one with New Jack Swing? So here's one here with New Jack Swing on.
We are the league, protectors of the core, fighting all the invaders. We won't lose this war. Viruses are strong, germs they might swarm, but we've got the power pushing through any storm. Time to join the fight, keep the body right, won't back down today, always knows the way. Call on defenses, armor strong and true. We're the body soldiers fighting all for you. Bacteria
All right, so that I'll go ahead. Let me keep it moving here. So let me see. The next one I got is this one here. I don't know if this is the one.
We are the lead, protectors of the core. Fighting all the invaders, we won't lose this war. Viruses are strong, germs they might swarm, but we've got the power, pushing through any storm. Time to join the fight. Keep the body right. Won't back down today. All we know's the way. Call on defenses, armor strong and true.
All right, and then we got that one though.
Soldiers fighting all for you.
All of them came out good. I actually liked them. So I don't know. Maybe they will just be on a revolving one thing or something. I don't know. But yeah, we gonna put that together. Listen, when we say that we trying to do something, we gonna put something together. We gonna do it. Period. There's no more talking. There's none of that or whatever. I'm not promising anything big and y'all, we in secret talks with Netflix. See, the way my mind works is if I wanted to do something like that, I'm not going to Netflix. I'm going to create my own thing. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to say, listen, let me get with this person. If I wanted to do all that, this is just fun. That's all this is. This is just, we're doing this for Sambatry and that's it. That's the only reason. That's it. It's no like, over promising and y'all, we're going to put t-shirts together. That might be a good idea. But no, I'm just saying we're going to put t-shirts together. We're going to have a whole tour and all. I'm not doing all that. This is just that if it takes a life of its own, that's great. If it don't, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But we just going to do the things that I'm determined that, listen, before I check out of here, everything that is in me has got to come out. And that includes doing stuff like this. So yeah, we going to do that. Like I said, again, you'll see me. Anything if it comes to my mind, I'm like, you know what? I should try that. That's what I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? So, and let that be an encouragement to other people to, as well too. Don't just be sitting up here talking about one day I may get. No, the one day is today. Go on and do your stuff, do your thing. I have where's that thing here? Oh, I was just there. Hold on. I'm gonna show y'all this here. Oh, here it is. That, and of course, the bad guys on this series, of course, is the bacteria and the germs and the viruses, right? Well, yeah, those are the bad guys. I mean, so we know those are the bad guys. But since you're dealing with cartoons, right, it can't be just a blob floating around, right? It's got to be a face that you tied to it. You know what I mean? Like the Justice League has the Legion of Doom, right? And then you got the, good guys versus the bad guys, right? Well, the bad guys, or I should say the bad guy in this series is the GOH Syndicate. This is the GOH Syndicate. What's the GOH? What does that stand for? That's the gates of hell. Okay. Gates. Okay. Wink, wink, not. Nod. The gates of hell syndicate. And so I am going to pattern it off of who and all his demons. And they are going to have, so you'll see them interacting every now and then with the vital force. Okay. So yeah, I'm putting a lot of thought in this, and it's just all just in the name of fun, learning, and getting people to see the value of your immune system, and getting, and waking our people up just with that. If I got to use cartoons, I'll do that. If I got to use sock puppets, I'll do that too. And so yeah, so I just wanted to kind of bring y'all up to speed on that and what we're working on that. And we, like I said again, you'll see things, activity coming up on the community page. So keep your eyes and ears. We just doing a lot of fun things on there to keep people, engaged, because your immune system is, oh man, it's so very important. I wanted to show y'all on that. Let me see. I was going to post this in our group here, but I'll play it for y'all here. Let me see. Where is that video? And then we're going to start getting to our main stories here. It's this video. Oh, here it is. All right, let me show y'all here. This is what we're talking about. The GOH, the gates of hell. All right. Now, we've talked about, of course, the bigger talk is the CV, jab, right? But it's the whole thing, all those jabs, they don't belong in you. Okay. You don't need to get nan one of them. When you look at how they tell you the schedule of how many of these jabs you're supposed to get the moment you pop out of your mother, it's crazy. And it should be very alarming to people. I found this video here of right here. This is a little baby. Now, I want you to keep in mind, now this is almost a newborn. This is probably about maybe a month, maybe 2 months. And just first, you're out of your mom, and this is how you're being introduced into the world. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to this, okay? And I want you to look at it. This is how we're introducing our children into the world.
1, 2, 3, pinch. Pinch again. Fast, I did fast. I'm so sorry.
So I want you to take note of what you're looking at right now. You are being stabbed by a needles, plural. You're being held down. Instead of being comforted, you're being held down on a table in a place that it ain't your home. And the person that's stabbing you ain't your mother. It's somebody else. See, for many of y'all who are looking at this, you may say, oh, well, that's just nothing. That's just a child. But I want you to understand something with this. And this is something I have emphasized many, many times on this platform. And I know I'm gonna have to keep on doing this. The reason why many people, period, have phobias when it comes to going to the hospital or going to the doctors is you think it's just because, well, I just don't like doctors or I just don't like the hospitals. What you don't understand is this. As a child, you know how people say, children are very impressionable. You're right. They are. So that means that any experiences that they encounter, that they deal with at a young age, what happens is it gets imprinted on them. Psychologically, it's imprinted. It doesn't go anywhere. It's imprinted. So from the smells to the look, the seeing all in white and all that stuff, your brain remembers that. So as you get older and you try to go back in there, the first thing it's going to bring back is those experiences. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's the same thing when people go to dentists. Some people have a fear of dentists. Like they just can't stand it. But if you trace back, you get more often than not, it comes to things like this. It was that it was that experience, that first time as a child, they had that encounter and it imprinted on them. All these things they're putting in this child, they don't need to be doing all of that. But I assure you that this child will never forget it. And when we were having our conversation, we were talking about the what you call it? We were talking about circumcision. There was a nurse. There was someone that was talking about this. It was a nurse. That's what it was. And the nurse was sharing about how there's two types of reactions when when young boys, when they're circumcised. First, they're just screaming their heads off. The other reaction is, she said, it's like it's eerily quiet, like they just sit there. And what the nurse will say is, "Oh, you're just handling this so well. Look at that. Oh, you're a strong boy. Look at you. Oh, you just," and they just cutting away at the little boy penis, just cutting away. "Oh, look at you. You just handling it so well." But what's really happening is they're in shock. And what's happening is they are internalizing this. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that carries on in life as they get older. Why these men, a lot of times, they don't show their emotion? Why are you always keeping things on the inside? This is one of the factors. I'm not saying in every case, but this does play a role. When you introduce children this young to trauma like this, it has an impact on them. It does. So this is why we're very serious about doing our part to educate, to reinforce the natural ways of being able to take care of ourselves, our bodies, and all of that. So like I said, again, if we got to do our cartoons, we got to do whatever, we'll do whatever. But you don't need that mess. You don't need to you don't have to resort to butchery to do that in order to make sure that the child is going to be healthy. You don't need to do that. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. So that was something. So anyway, let's keep it moving here. Wow. Looking at the time. Wow. We're moving. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to talk about this story here. Tony Evans. As you know, that story, if you haven't heard by now, he made an announcement, was about a little over a week ago, that he fell into some kind of sin or something like that. And he was very brief about it. But what I want to do, Peace in Mind Counseling, as I'm transitioning here, said, let me put that on the screen, said, trauma memories stay in the body. The body remembers even if the mind forgets. 100% totally correct. 100% totally correct. I wanted to highlight that because that is important. So Tony Evans, I've already explained, what's going on with that. And I'm sure many of you have already heard that story. But something, I tell you what, let me just play the video first and then I'll say what I'm going to say. Okay. So I'm coming for the video right now, and then I'll say what I was going to say. Okay. I think it's best if I start with that. All right. So this is his son, Jonathan. And, and the name of the church is Oak Cliff Church. Okay. All right. So, and just so happens, that he was preaching on Father's Day. Oh, not a coincidence at all. So let's take a listen. This is Tony Evans' son, Jonathan. I want you to listen to this, okay? Let's take a listen.
His word is true. And so what are we going to do? We're going to play offense. We're going to go and do and be what God has called us to go and do and be. And when he returns, when my dad returns, when that time comes, we're going to celebrate a victory we already knew beforehand that we had. So if you want to experience the power of Jesus Christ, you can't be boasting about your strength. You have to be willing to boast about your weakness. That's why my father is still teaching me who can get up and say, hey, I'm going to take time for spiritual restoration and be restored because I fell short. That's a hard thing to do because people don't like talking about weaknesses. They only like talking about strengths.
So anyway, so let's talk about this. Okay. Now, Tony Evans we don't know what he did. First of all, first and foremost, let me just say this. When I tell you, and I'm sure many of you have this experience as well, I can't tell you how many times I've heard of, stories of pastors, saying, hey, I committed a sin and all that, whatever. And, and it don't matter. White pastor, black preacher, it don't matter, right? Something always comes out. The one thing that stays pretty consistent with these sudden announcements is that more often, I would say the majority of these sudden announcements or these admissions of failure, moral failure, is that they will never be clear as to what they failed at. All right? They'll never do that. So instead, they just kind of leave it kind of like, oh, it's kind of in the air. Just know, because the reason why they do that is because they don't want you to measure them in any kind of way. It's immeasurable. So they keep it like all the way up here. Because I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I slept with, I may have slept with 20 women, but I'm just, the tactic that they're doing right now is the same. We don't know if he slept with one woman or a man or a child. We don't know. We don't know anything. So what they do is they make it all blended in so that they can convey to the people that, hey, I'm just like you. Well, let me tell you something, okay? Because, again, we don't know, all right? If it comes out that this man slept with a child, no the hell you ain't like me, okay? Let's be real, okay? We ain't the same. If it came out that this man slept with another woman, no, you ain't like me. No, I ain't do that. If it came that he slept with another man, no, that ain't me. Well, brother, see, what you got to understand is that we all have sinned, and there's no degrees of sin. It's all, we've all have sinned and all of that. Yeah, I get the message. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But let's talk about the specific thing that you did here. All right? That's got to be dealt with. It's got to be dealt with, period. And keeping it in the cloud, the church has been operating in the cloud before Apple. Before Apple had, you could store all your emails and your text messages in the cloud. The church, they've been putting it in the cloud for a long time. I'm serious, because you never know. You never know. You'll never figure it out. And then what they do is, and I said to myself, I was literally planning this video out, not what we're doing right now, but there was a video that I was going to do when I first heard about this. But I said, this is the steps that they're going to go through. And so the first thing I said is they either going to have his daughter or one of his children get up there, and they're going to do this sermon where, it's going to seem like it's all like, okay, well, we're just doing our regular sermon, but somehow the sermon is going to get twisted into, and like my father, my dad now, he may have, they'll find a way to twist it in there. And so now all of a sudden now we ain't talking about Jesus anymore. Now we're talking about your dad. And what I'm telling you all, you may think, well, you just beating up on, I'm not beating up on nobody. What I'm saying is this is standard op for churches, period. I don't care what the ministry is. They do this all the time. And so they twist it in there. And now all of a sudden, so they get you all into the sermon, right? Where you just think you're talking about Jesus or Peter or Paul, whatever it is. And then they'll say, just like Peter, my father, or just like Paul, like my dad, they find that bridge, right? And then once they are able to make that connection in the minds of the people that are listening, then what the second step is to weaponize it. That's the next thing. And then they'll try to say, well, see, Just like Jesus had his detractors, my father also had his, then all of a sudden now it's weaponized. And now you find yourself aligning with this person that fell into sin, quote unquote, whatever that is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, again, the typical reaction I get from the religious crowd is, well, brother, what businesses does that have to do with you? Why are you worrying about? That's, again, the deflection. The deflection game is real with the religious folk. What's this? Why are you worrying about it? First of all, number one, ain't nobody losing any sleep over this. Okay, that's number one. Okay, so, and number two, I ain't worried. Okay, so there's no worry or anything like that. What I am saying is this. Okay. If you can be specific about the tithes and offerings when it comes to, you better make sure you get your 10% in. If you can be specific about the money, why can't you be specific about what you did? That's my point. You can be specific about, I've seen churches where they'll pull out the sheet and say, now, you trying to be in leadership? Let me see here. They'll pull out that tithe and offering sheet, your giving record. They'll pull that out real quick. They pull that joint out real quick and be like, okay, now you talking about you want to be involved in this ministry? Okay, let's go ahead and pull your tithes and offering records here. And I see, okay, you gave here and you gave here, but what happened? Or if you say, well, you weren't here this Sunday. What happened? Why weren't you here last Sunday? Well, we visited another church. What church was that? They will get specific on everything. I mean, everything. But then all of a sudden, when the pastor does something, well, brother, we don't need to know that. We don't need to know that. We don't need to know the specifics on that because, again, at the end of the day, we've all sinned. And see, especially in this day and time, you better know. Because if it comes out, this dude was messing around with little children. I'm not saying, again, y'all, I'm not going there, but it's open. It's open seat. If you're not specific, people can say whatever. People can come to all kinds of conclusions. I'm personally not coming to any conclusion because I don't care anymore. I don't. I've given up in that world. But when you're not specific like that, it's duality. Basically, you can be specific on some things, but when it comes to the leader or the leaders, when they get into something, you don't even know. Like I said, again, in this day and time now, you better know, especially if there's children involved. Did you hear about this other? I used to see Team Truth. There's another pastor down in Texas. I'm like, what the heck is going down in Texas? There's another pastor down in Texas. Well, I don't even know the guy's name. This is some white dude. Well, it came out that he, back in the 80s, man, all this stuff coming out. He was messing around with a child that was 12 years old. Now, let me find this video. Now, this video is something here because I just had it up here. Is this it? I think this is it. Oh, this is it. Okay. The name of this pastor here his name is Robert Morris. Now, again, I don't know this dude. I don't know these people like this. Okay. So I can't go into, his ministry is this, that, or whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But basically, this is, like I said, this pastor, it came out that he messed around with some girl when she was 12 years old, I think. She was 12 years old. So this is going all the way back in the 80s. I think from what I heard, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong on this. From what I heard was that I don't know what it was. I don't know if he knew something was about to come out or something, but he stood before his church recently and said, you know, I want to acknowledge to y'all that I was in an extramarital affair with a woman, right? Okay, so that's what he said there. But what he left out was, no, it wasn't a woman. It was a 12-year-old girl. And so the woman now the 12-year-old that's now a woman, she was like, oh, heck no, I'm pulling all your stuff. And so I don't think he's the pastor anymore. But anyway, he was doing a sermon 8 years ago. See, this is what I'm saying. When you put stuff on video, you better make sure you understand that you are just creating all kinds of receipts for people. So 8 years ago, he did a video. Actually, he was doing a sermon, and he was given, you know how, okay, the name of the young lady, who's not a young lady now, her name is Cindy. Now, I want you to take a listen. This is a sermon he did like 8 years ago. And I want you to listen to this. And here you go.
Your mind has logged everything you've ever done, everything you've ever said, and everything that's ever been said to you, and everything you've ever seen or experienced. Your mind has it. Now, you're thinking, where is it? Because I can't remember it. It's in your subconscious. Have you ever said, oh, what's her name? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's not on the tip of your tongue. It's expression. It's in your subconscious. And it's there because it'll come to you a lot of times right before you go to sleep. Cindy, it just comes out.
Robert Morris is the founder and senior pastor at Gateway Church in Southlake. A woman has come forward.
Cindy Clemenshire, the accuser, she says that the abuse first happened on Christmas Day in 1982. She was just 12 years old. She says that abuse continued until...
Man, this dude just told on himself 8 years ago. I mean, he laid it all out. I can't even see that. What's even the point of going to court at that point? Just do everything on Zoom. Just keep and zoom right on into prison. I mean, you done literally just just do it on Zoom and then zoom right on into prison, because that's pretty much that's a wrap right there. I mean, you just gave them everything on that one. But anyway, getting back to, pastors like this individual here, Robert Morris, and then we were just talking about Tony Evans as well. Again, listen, I'm not beating up on anybody, because you got to deal with all of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know Tony Morris. Tony Morris. Sorry, I'm getting Tony. I don't know this dude. I don't know these preachers. Tony Evans. I don't know these preachers like this. It'd be like, child, let me tell you now, in the Bible it says this, and and just like, and I'm not doing any of that. I ain't doing any of that. Okay. He's come out with it. I on one hand, and let me just say this. I ain't praying jack, and neither should you be praying, because how the heck are you what are you praying for? Because people be up here like, y'all, we got to pray for Pastor Evans now. We got to pray for him now. Let's keep him lifted up in prayer, during this time, because I know it's hard. Let's keep him lifted up in prayer. What are you praying? Tell me what you put in the what are you praying for? What are you praying for? What is you praying for? We don't even know. But you're going to pray that he's just covered in the name of Jesus. He's covered with the blood of Jesus, and, that he would just sense this peace and all. What? We don't even know. And all of that Holy Ghost power that you got, you trying to use it to cover this man. You don't even know what you're praying for. You don't even know. You just going along with it. And then another thing that these preachers do is that they will always remind you of what they did for you. They will always do that, because Pastor, when I was down, Pastor, he was always there for me. And just like he was there for me, I know he was always there for you, right? Right? make sure you keep that offering going. Now, remember, he's always there now. See, what you got to understand is what this house that you're in right now is the Father's house. And the Father that we're talking about is our pastor. And so when you're sitting in the Father's house, you know, he's already built a provision for you. And so he's going to make sure that you're already taken care of. Now, it doesn't matter. He may fall into sin. He may do, but that's okay. But you're still sitting in the Father's house. You know, they'll work all of that, smother all of that, just all over the place. And you just go along with it like, yeah, that's right. Not realizing what this man did is literally shot his legacy and his ministry in the foot. How did he do that? When you're not being specific. Because when you're not being specific, another thing is people are like, well, I just murdered somebody last week. Again, I'm just hypothetical. He's right. We've all sinned. So now the standard is there's no standard here. It's all over the place. Everyone's guessing now. Sin can be just anything now. You don't even know. Just pray for me. I remember growing up in the church a lot of times, like, you know, some of y'all may, this is going old church, man. You know, when you go around the room and you ask people, you know, okay, we can take in prayer requests now. Okay, what are you praying for? Pray for my mom. You know, she's got going in an operation and all of that. Okay, good. Okay, what we praying for? Okay, we're going to pray for your dog. Okay, your dog, he did what? Okay, we're going to pray for him. And then you go to the next person. What we going to pray for? Oh, it's an unspoken prayer request. Okay, then we ain't praying for you. Because I don't know, your prayer request may be to slice my head off. And we be up there, you be praying a storm up over someone's unspoken request. And you don't even know what you're praying for. I'm telling you, the brainwashing of religion is crazy. It's maddening. You got a pastor that literally would take playing double dutch with a bunch of penises, playing double dutch. He just got them, just going. And then folks just like, well, you know, hey, listen, we've always said, and I ain't gonna say nothing though. I ain't gonna tell people what I was doing, you know, but I ain't gonna say nothing. The stories. It's just something, but you have the people who stay loyal instead of being, hey, listen, not only do you need to get help, you need to get arrested. How about that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, again, I'm speaking in general terms here. You know, what we don't know what Evans went through or what he did. There's nothing at all on it. We simply do not know. All right. Do I lose any sleep over that? No. Should you lose any sleep over that? Absolutely not. But for the people who are part of that world, that ministry or whatever, you better be asking some serious questions instead of buying that mess up. Because no, I'm gonna need some more specifics here. You know what I mean? If I want, you know, if I'm trying to raise up, if I'm trying to help build some strong men that are accountable, I'm not going to be sitting up here. We ain't doing no unspoken prayer requests here. I want to know what you about. You understand what I'm saying? Well, you ain't got to know all my business. Okay, fine. Then get out of here. In other words, we're not talking about knowing every last little detail of your life. But if you're dealing with helping adults, you know, to get through certain things, if you're dealing with trying to help people, young people, you know, and all of that, we need to know there's certain things you should just want to just let people know, hey, listen, I dealt with this. But of course, it probably will never come out. If it does come out, it's probably going to be in a book or something like that you're going to have to purchase. And even if you get the book, they ain't going to tell you the whole thing. That's just what it is, right? Or the daughter will probably end up making a movie out of it. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. We got a lot more coming in. When we come back, I'm taking a break right now. And then when we come back after this little short break, we're going to get into the WNBA real quick. because, man, I tell you, these people are telling on themselves. Oh my goodness. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Okay, so I'm gonna take a short break here, and then when we come back, we're gonna get into that. All right, so stay tuned. This weekend, around Sunday, we'll be. I believe Nicole and we might be going live on this platform. So regarding Samba Tree and some things we're going to be releasing pretty soon. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and we'll let you know on that. All right. All right, here we go. So let's continue on with our discussion here. More on the WNBA here. I tell you, when I did that, like I said again, I don't care about all the different personalities of all of that. I don't care about the NBA. I don't care about any of these leagues. I don't. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. But I am, with the things that do interest me is the marketing. I love reading stories about marketing, what's successful marketing that's a fail. Business strategies. I like listening to those different stories. And also when you have those things that intersect with, cultural things or whatever, or social issues, they're very interesting to me, So just to be clear, I have no dog in this fight. I'm not on team Caitlyn or team Angel or whomever. I ain't on team nobody. Okay. This is just, I'm an outsider looking at these things. I have some experience in some of this stuff, and I'm just talking or commenting based off of that. That's it. Okay. So you can take it for what it's worth. You can use it as toilet paper if that's what you want to use it for. But anyway, not to go through the two videos that we did before, but basically to recap, what we said is, there's been a lot of talk and discussion about the WNBA and, just the current state of it. And people are saying that, these black women, because, the WNBA is made up of predominantly black women. You do have white women in there as well. And you got women of other, ethnic cultural backgrounds in there too. But majority of it is black women. And the argument that they're trying to push, which I knew they were going to do, was that the reason why that their league has been not as successful as the NBA is because of the fact that people hate black female athletes. And that is a bunch of hogwash. We gave many examples of black female athletes who, like black athletes in general, have gone through and experienced levels of racism. But at the end of the day, when you look at the demographic of their fan base, a huge part of their fan base is actually white people. So white people don't have really a problem with Simone Biles, but they have a problem with the WNBA. Okay. White people don't have a problem with the women's track team, U.S. track team, but they got a problem with the WNBA. Okay. White people have a problem with, Gabby Douglas or, the Williams sisters or whatever, but they just really can't. They just despise the WNBA. No, it just doesn't work that way. Again, I stress that, yes, the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, Gabby, all these people will tell you that, yes, I have encountered some levels of racism in my career. But by and large, when you look at their fan base today, just based on the sports that they're in, a good hefty percentage of their loyal fan base is actually made up of white people. So are we dealing with, so now this is a selective racism we're talking about. They just hate this league because these players are black women. No, that's not the case at all. There's no evidence for that at all. And we proved that over and over again. There's zero evidence that this hatred or whatever, this backlash that they're getting is because they hate these women because they're black. It has no standing at all. No standing at all. Is some of that a factor now that you brought in this high caliber player of Caitlin Clark? Yeah, it's gonna bring in people who aren't really used to, for me, sports is sports. I leave the politics and all that other stuff out of there. If you can play, that's all I care about. You know what I mean? But you got a lot of people, who have been latching on to the Caitlin wave, who got all kinds of different agendas and all of that stuff, and they're bringing it into the game and all that. And it's like, okay, dang, whatever, y'all go jump in the lake with that foolishness. But that's just a tiny percentage. But as we said, that demographic who has largely made it clear that they have no interest in seeing lesbian women doing layups, they've made it very clear that they're not interested in that. And they're not going to invest in that. And it's not just white people. You've also had black people as well who haven't really been supporting the WNBA, as far as fans are concerned, until recently. I told you, it's when Mr. Charlie does it, we are right behind Mr. Charlie. It just always happens. Mr. Charlie moves to the suburbs, we move to the suburbs. Mr. Charlie moves to space, trust me, we on the next rocket ship to go right next to him. We be on the next asteroid. Hey, Mr. Charlie, you better make sure you don't come over here. This is our land, And then a week later, can we come on your asteroid? Anyway, so it's just, that's just what happens. And so anyway, but the factor as to why has very little to do with race, and it has a lot to do with the fact that a good percentage of these women are lesbians, and not that they're just lesbians, but they're doing stuff on the court and off the court. You know what I'm saying? And that's not marketable to this demographic. Okay. So we've already talked about that. But there's other little things as well. And I've stressed and made it clear over and over again that is women's basketball, can it be competitive? Can it be exciting to watch? And I've said absolutely, but there are some things, that's probably the biggest thing, but there's some much smaller things that they should look into. Let me see if it's in this video here. Oh, let me see if it's in this video. If not, I'll just tell you about this video. Okay, I'll just tell you about this video here. I'll just tell you about it. Okay, so there's a video that I saw this week. It was Shaq and Shaquille O'Neal, and I think wasn't Cheryl Swoops. I forgot who it was they were talking to. They were talking to somebody, and somebody in the WNBA. And Shaq said, okay, let me give you, how you talk. Let me give you this advice. I'm going to give you this advice, okay, on what the WNBA can do to become a better league or whatever, right? And his advice was very simple. Let me see if I can find that. Because the reason why I want to find that, because I want you to hear the reaction that he gave. All right. So let me see if I can find that real quick here. That's going to be on the watch. Hopefully, don't you hate it when YouTube, it's like you'll watch a video and then it's like, okay, it's going to be in my history. And then you go in your history and it ain't there. Let me see if I can find it. And of course, it's not in my history. There you go. It's not in the history. Okay. So I'll just tell you about it. Okay. So Shaq said, what you guys should do, he said, you should lower the rim. It right now is at the same height as the NBA. You need to lower it. So that way we can actually see some women dunking. You know what I'm saying? And I think that will really get the crowd in and excited or whatever. And whoever he was speaking to, who's, some WNBA legend, she was like, no, we ain't doing that. She was like, Nah, she said, I'm sorry, we're not doing that at all, because this, my children will be shooting the rock, just like the men or whatever. So it's this contention that they have with the men. It's like, we're going to be just like y'all on this. And so he was like, all right, it is what it is. Okay, well, I guess we'll see. But the truth of the matter is, when you're looking, most of the time they're doing layups. And what's part of the DNA of what's made the NBA something to watch is people slam dunking and all of that. But you don't see that in the WNBA. I mean, they're doing layups. Now, what Caitlin brings to the table is she ain't just doing the layups, but that girl be shooting threes from outer space. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the main draws. People are like, okay, this is something different. We don't typically see this, where she's consistently popping them, And so that's been really the draw, again, for people who understand sports, you can see through that. You know what I mean? It ain't just a race thing. Well, anyway, there's a couple of videos here. This is an interview that was done on, this is on somebody else's channel that's talking about this video that was done. This video is about a year old, and this was an interaction. This was on LeBron James's, he has his like a podcast that he does, and it's called The Shop. And in this podcast that he was doing, he had somebody on here, and they're talking. He has Draymond Green on here, and he was trying to, and she was on here, basically talking about Lisa Leslie. She was on here talking about how, I think she started off, they said, well, what can be done to make the WNBA better, right? And so she goes off on this whole, like, well, we got to pay, first of all, these women need to be paid more money. And I've heard many of them say that. But the problem is, you can't be paid more money because the WNBA is in so much debt right now. That's why they're really not making a whole lot of money. It's things are changing a little bit, but you're losing right now. Like I told you in the last broadcast, it's estimated that they're going to be losing $50 million this year, $50 million. So and you got investors that are investing in that. So you losing money, and then you out here on Main Street screaming, talking about you need to get higher pay. I'm not invested in that. You know what I mean? No. So again, it has nothing to do with them being women. It's all about the league has this inability to make money. And why is that? And it's what we were talking about. But anyway, I want you to listen to this conversation, and I want you to see how, Draymond Green and what he had to say, because she was going in talking about how we need to get more pay or whatever. But then I want you to hear what Draymond Green had to say. And then I want you to take notice of how she changes tune very quickly. Okay, so let's take a listen at this.
Help the game out. Okay, so I think the game is looking great. I think it's evolved great. I believe that player for player, players are more talented, faster. You can see they're getting that individual training, ball handling skills, shooting. The game is phenomenal. I thought they're playing at a high level. I'm very proud of them. I support the WNBA still. I will always. Obviously we'd love to have Brittany back home. That's important.
For sure. Shout out BG. Yep.
Shout out to BG. She's never, far from our thoughts. Yep. But the WNBA is rocking. What could we have more? I mean, I just think, from a salary standpoint, it'd be great for the women to be able to make more money. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. I think I saw something that said, like, one player that makes maybe $12 million on the NBA team could cover the whole WNBA salary.
Yeah, that's insane.
So that's kind of like crazy. And again, we're what, 26 years young, so it's not like we're comparing ourselves to the NBA, but I do feel like the pay gap would be something that, we could just take a donation around the NBA maybe one night y'all don't go to the casino.
This is it.
Okay, so you heard her. She said maybe if y'all don't go to the casino, because again, the NBA has actually been footing the bill for the WNBA. And so she's saying that maybe if y'all players don't go to the casinos, maybe we can fix that. Okay, so that's where she's going with that. All right, so just keep watching. All right, so this is the ads. Okay, here we go.
I have something on this, though, because it pisses me off.
Uh-oh.
It pisses me off because I don't think there's anyone in America that supports the WNBA more than NBA players.
100%.
The NBA players support the WNBA like
the most.
More than we probably support the fucking NBA. And it bothers me.
See, I told you, I wasn't joking. Her response to improving the game was to give the players more money. She wants them to make more because it's a lot of hard work. Yeah, being a professional athlete, yeah, it's a lot of hard work. I get it. But it's still basketball. They have players making over $200K, and the salaries that are on the lower end are around like $50K. Yet, they have their highest paid players who are making over $200K in a league that doesn't generate profit, coming out and saying they deserve more money and more people should watch. It's just a very entitled statement to hear, especially for people who make much less for a job that is much shittier than playing basketball. Lisa talks about this pay gap as if they're all in the same league, and then says NBA players should make another donation and stop going to the casino, which the casino part, yeah, that's a pretty good point. That money could be better off somewhere else, but not to WNBA players. They shouldn't be giving it to them. And Draymond gives it to her straight. The NBA players are the biggest promoters of the WNBA. They don't need to give more. In fact, every time they try to show support, I mean, if you guys have seen my video where Iggy made the tweet, and there was another situation where Luka did a promotional and he got called out, it's the same thing. They just get in trouble. They get yelled at by the players after trying to help them.
You shouldn't be.
Oh, yeah, let me stop there because he mentioned Luka doing that. Sometime back, Luka, he made a video where he was like, hey, y'all need to come out and support whatever the local team is down. I think it's down in Dallas. He said, go out and support them. Right now, he ain't no small player. He's a major player. He's a headliner for the NBA. And he used his social media to advertise this WNBA team and was saying, hey, listen, y'all need to go out and support them. Right. You know what the WNBA's response was to that? Their response to that was, says the man that's never been to any of our games. And they started attacking him. And I'm sitting up there like, whoa, hold on. Whether he went to your games or not, that's irrelevant. If he's using his social media space to promote you, you should be grateful for that. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it's just like, why would you attack free advertising? I don't get that. But anyway, let's continue on. Now, listen to what her response now after she heard on Draymond.
Because the WNBA players, I can tell you 100%, and we had a meeting for our 25th anniversary. We're do Zooms with the veteran, the legends of the league or whatever, and just talking about it. And I told them on that call, the number one supporter that we have, you guys never focus on, and that is the NBA players. When LeBron wore that orange hoodie, I told them that hoodie was just sitting there with the logo on it. When he wore that hoodie, it went viral. And I explained to them.
We went through rings to get that shit down to the bubble, though.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
they would not send us those hoodies.
Yeah, really? But I explained to them. I said, you guys don't even use our number one allies that have supported us from day one are the NBA players. I said they tweet, they follow us, they come to our games. We don't highlight them. They are our number one allies. They have the most followers. You guys are targeting the wrong people.
Yeah, Lisa changed up her tune a bit there, and rightfully so. I mean, she understands how much the NBA players do for them, and she definitely seemed to want to listen to Draymond and was willing to take the criticism. I mean, that's all the WNBA needs to do. Listen and take criticism. They need to understand that they are not there yet, and they need to put their heads down and work and improve the game, which will lead to more support and more money. And I think a lot of WNBA all look bad.
It was definitely a damn moment when I heard some of the uppers at the WNBA office.
Yeah.
You spoke to them yourself?
No, I didn't. This heard from a credible source, and they said that when we come to the games, they try not to put us on the telecast as much because they want it to be shown as a WNBA game. They want the girls to be shown, and they don't want to show us on TV as much.
Terrible idea. I disagree with that.
It's crazy, man.
I disagree with that.
When you said this to the...
Because they've changed that. They've changed that. Why wouldn't you highlight the fact that Draymond Green, if you come and watch a Sparks game, or LeBron James, obviously watch anybody's game, you know what I'm saying? It's saying that you took the time out of your day to come to watch a women's game because you value what you're seeing. It's actually it's reversed. We should be valuing that. There's a million things you could be doing that's amazing. So when you take the
So she goes on. Yeah, you see how she changed up though. Because, and then here's the other thing that I noticed too, according to her account, and then she says she's sitting down with the top people of the WNBA and was like discussing about and had to tell them, hey, listen, you're attacking the wrong people. So apparently there's some kind of vibe there where they really don't like the NBA players. There's some vibe there, low key. That's not all of them, but it seems like there's some kind of vibe there. But what's crazy is they're the ones that is trying to help you out. Their league is been dragging y'all. It's tied to some things here that I'm gonna get to in a moment here. It's tied to some things here. So let me switch to this other video here. Now you remember I told y'all, I said the big rainbow colored elephant in the room is the fact that it's not that, oh, these women are black. That's not even an issue. It's the things that these women, it goes down to the lesbianism stuff. It's the lesbianism stuff. People don't care to see that in sports. They don't want to see that. They don't want to see two women kissing and talking about she just wanted some of my deliciousness on the court. They don't want to see that. And I showed you that when that happened. They don't want to see that. They don't want to see one of your top players taking shots with no top on, no shirt on. People don't want to see that. And to try to blend that in and try to make that into a black issue, it's just being dishonest. Now, here is another interview. Now, this interview was 3 years ago. And I'm surprised the video's still up. This is, like I said, whoever's doing their marketing, it's horrible. Their marketing is horrible. So anyway, they do this video, and the video itself is talking about how the title of it is WNBA stars keep it real about sexuality in women's sports. So I'll just go ahead and play it. Okay, so you can see, and I want you to hear it. Now I don't know, maybe someone can tell me if she's a player or not. I don't know about her, but these three certainly are. These are the main people that are being talked about. Okay, Lexi Brown, Angel McCoughtry, hope I'm saying her name right, and then Cheryl Swoops. Okay, I want you to listen to them on this. Okay, let's go.
Time WNBA champion with the Houston Comets, Cheryl Swoops. Now we take it to another excellent woman herself. We have two-time Olympic gold medalist, five-time WNBA All-Star, newly of the Las Vegas Aces. Angel McCoughtry is here as well. What's up, Angel? And finally, one of the up-and-coming young stars of the league, 2018 first-round draft pick, Lexi Brown of the Minnesota Lynx is with us.
Let's keep it real about how the WNBA is portrayed in society with regard.
All right, so they're going to
categorize this whole league as everybody's gay in the WNBA, and they look like boys, and they're manly, and no. Everybody's their own individual person. And why are you judging a sport on a sexuality? We don't do that in the NBA. And we know that there are different sexualities in the NBA or in the NFL. Judge the person on how well they play. We shouldn't even be going there. That's how I feel. But yeah, people are nosy and they want to know, like, oh, who they dating or whatever. This is who I'm dating. Bada bing, bada boom. Do you like the way I play? That's just my view.
I remember when the league first started, and I was pregnant, was married, had my child. The league marketed that like crazy, to Angel's point, right? It was, in a way, Cheryl Swoops, the first family of the WNBA, because it was, when you saw me and my baby, you saw my husband at the time, right? And they were all about that. So to Angel's point, I don't know why they don't do that more. It's become more of a let's show everybody that we embrace our league being gay. And I think that's sending the wrong message because, as Angel said, not every player in the WNBA is gay, right? You don't hear people going saying, talking about the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball on who's gay, who's straight, because it doesn't really matter. I think at some point what would be great would be for the league to get to a point where it's not a conversation. Like, it shouldn't be a conversation. And judge me. Matter of fact, don't even judge me because it's not your place to judge me, right? But if you want to watch the league, you want to watch the games because of my talent, right? So I think in a way it does hurt the league because you have a lot of people or fans out there who say, well, I'm not going to watch the WNBA because, as Angel said, people have this perception that every player in the WNBA is gay or they all look like boys. And because of that, I think it turns away fans. But if the league would ever get to a point to where they're not really buying into that and just saying, look, this is our league. All of our players are different. Some are married, some are not, some are gay, some are not, some have kids, some don't. Like every other league, it shouldn't even be a conversation.
I think they're trying to reach out to our majority fan base. If anybody knows or follows who's been to a game, they understand what that means. But I've had parents tell me that I'm not bringing my daughter to a WNBA game. Have you seen the type of people who are at WNBA games, who are at college games? And we need, I love kids. I want little girls and little boys at our games. Our games are so fun. They're probably some of the most kid-friendly environments ever, honestly. Our fans are great, not super obnoxious. But I've had multiple conversations with people okay, I'm Lexi. Oh, what do you do? I play in WNBA. Oh my gosh. You play in the WNBA? What's that like? Isn't everybody gay? I have to look at them. I'm like, that really has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, let me stop here. Okay, just keep in mind now. Keep in mind, this is called keeping it real. Okay, now on this panel of 3 people, 2 of them are gay. 2 of them are gay. The third one, Lexi Brown, I wasn't able to confirm anything on her. But both Angel and Cheryl Swoops are gay. Now, let me ask you something. If you're trying to convince people that your entire league isn't made up of lesbians, why the heck would you get players on this panel that are lesbians? That's like me saying, let's say, for example, if I was I had a nursery, I sold plants, right? And, and I also took care of plants and all that and trees and all that. I was that guy in your neighborhood, right? And let's say it started getting out that, well, Dwayne, he don't know how to take care of these trees, man, and these things be coming up, they all diseased up and tore up and all that stuff. And then I'm sitting up here like, oh, no. See, I'm going to squash this right now. And so I'm going to set up an interview with the local news. So I set up an interview with the local news and I'm saying, hey, make sure you cover all these plants that are behind me. And then all the plants behind me are diseased and tore up. That doesn't sound, why would I do that? Why the heck would I do that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Why the heck would I even do that? And that's exactly, if you're trying to make the case that the WNBA is made up of a whole lot of lesbians, why would you use lesbians to try to make that case? I mean, I'm like, who was responsible for this? And at least Lexi said, at least she's acknowledging. I actually talked to some of the fans, and they said, "Oh, how is that?" She's pointing out the whole point I've been making. They're not interested. They're not interested in that. They are interested in sports, but they're not interested in that. But I just was like, I saw this, I was like, my mouth was wide open because I was like, who even thought that this was a good idea to do this? I don't know. It just really boggles my mind on this stuff. So I'm talking about this because I see a lot of our people getting sucked up into this whole WNBA stuff. And like I said again, I don't care who you support or whatever. I don't care. Well, I'm just gonna always watch Angel, because that's our girl or whatever. But see, I would argue this is a lot of her fans are really Rage fans, meaning that they are her fans because I don't want to see Caitlyn win. It's like that kind of stuff. It's like, why can't you just like her because she's a good player? Why has it got to be the rage and all that behind it? That's not a good way to grow a league at all if you got that stuff going on. So it seems like there's a whole lot of stuff. The more and more I start looking in this, there seems like there's a whole lot going on back there. I'm just saying, listen, black people, my dear black people, don't get yourself emotionally invested in that. That's the whole point of everything I'm saying. If you want to watch the WNBA, that's you. If you don't want to watch it, that's you too. I'm just saying, please, this was a whole exercise to get our people to see, okay, let's go through this logically. Let's look at this whole situation. And that's exactly what we've done in at least 2 videos to show you, hey, listen, this isn't really anything for you to get emotionally invested in, because there's a whole lot of other things going on there that it's just, it's a mess. It's a hot mess. And like I said, again, they're not going to bring it up. They'll never talk about any of this stuff. Instead, they'll bundle it up and they'll try to do the agenda that someone was alluding to, is really trying to bundle up the LGBT agenda with being a black person in this country. And I'm sorry, I know that a black person can be LGBT, but the experiences are different. And how dare you take my history and try to blend it in with that stuff? How dare you do that? Every day, you and I, who are this color, when we wake up, okay, one day today I'm gonna be white. I don't have that choice. Do you understand what I'm saying? And nor is it a burden, like every day I'm like, Lord Jesus, how can I get this black off of me? Oh Lord. No, I'm proud of what I am. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy if I had to do it all over again, I would say, yeah, make me twice as black. For real. You know what I'm saying? And that's how happy and glad I am now that I know what I know now. You know what I'm saying? If I could go and if I can visit the Dwayne that was going through, that moved from Philadelphia to New Jersey at that time and had to deal with an all-white school and had to deal with the racism there, I would be right there. Man, listen, it's all right. Listen, man, you hold your head up. It's gonna be good, because guess what? One day their daughter's gonna be trying to get with you, and you gonna tell them no. You know what I'm saying? See how that's gonna flip up on them? You know what I'm saying? So nah. So yeah, I just thought that was something there on the WNBA stuff. So okay, so what we're gonna do now? Let's move it on. Like I said, I gotta let's see what we got here. We covered that WNBA, Tony Evans. I have 2 more things I want to talk about. My wife just reminded me of one. And so we're done with the WNBA, okay? So flipping that. Now, many of you have heard, should I bring this up on the screen here? Okay, so you've heard that Congress just passed this law or whatever, where now young men from the ages of 18 to 26 or 27, someone correct me on that, you are going to be required, or they're going to automatically enlist you into select services, which basically means, if a war goes on, that they're going to call on you. Before, it used to be voluntary, mandatory, but mandatory that you volunteer. Now, figure that one out. When you turn 18, that was one of the things you used to do. You go to the post office and fill out the little paperwork, and you're signed up or whatever. But now they just says bump all of that. We're just going to enlist anybody in that age bracket, so that if a war breaks out, we're going to call on you and you're going to have to come. Now, that's the United States. Now, just the other day, well, yesterday, matter of fact, in the Guardian, this comes out. This is the Prime Minister of in the UK. He just so happened, now he's saying this. He says he's floating sanctions on young people for refusing national services. And, for 18-year-olds who do not sign up for service, he's talking about things like, if you get into it, there's an actual video on, it's out there, where he was saying like they will restrict like bank accounts or, other things as well, to really try to make people in this age bracket sign up, in case something happens militarily, so first we got the United States and now we got the UK pushing this stuff. So, our black spidey senses are already way up over here, don't you know? And so what I shared with the group that we have over on Threema is that now that you see this, that should be your wake up call. And if you have children, and I say emphasize children now, meaning that if they are within that age bracket, all right, if they're, because you're talking adults now, but if you have children that are in that age bracket, what I'm advising is that you and your family come up with a plan on how you're going to address it. Okay. What is your plan? If you hear that all of a sudden the United States is saying, hey, listen, if you are within this group, you better be at the nearest base by this time. What I'm emphasizing and stressing to you right now is that you and your family need to have a sit down and talk about how we're going to do this, or what are we going to do? Are we going to do anything? But you need to have that conversation. And whatever you decide to do, and this is what I said to the group earlier, do not have this conversation electronically. In other words, don't be having it on your cell phone. Don't be texting one another on this. Don't put it in my comment section. Don't put it in our chat. Whatever your family decides to do on how to handle that, that needs to be in-house, face-to-face. And whatever plans you have, you need to figure that out. And I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm not giving any hints, clues, or anything as far as what we do or not going to do or whatever. I ain't saying jack. You hear what I'm saying? No. But what I am saying to you is you need to have that conversation. And that's something that's for real. Because if you got the United States talking like this, and now all of a sudden the UK is talking like this, things can change just like that. And you get that ring or that text or that letter or whatever, and literally things can flip and change overnight. And these evil bastard people that I cannot stand, they won't think twice to put your loved ones right on the front line for their foolishness. How you gonna handle that? And I'll just leave it at that. But like I said again, don't be on, because people be running their mouths. Well, child, what I'm gonna do is shoot. We gonna do. Don't say nothing. Close your ashy mouth. All right, keep it on the low. Whatever you decide to do or not do, and that's it. But you do need to have that conversation, so that way, when if it does come about, you've already thought everything out, and whatever you need to do is done. You know what I'm saying? And I'll just leave it at that. Okay. So I wanted to emphasize that, and because that is something that's very important, very, very important. We need to be thinking ahead, and the COVID thing certainly should have all of y'all thinking ahead on a lot of things, not being panicked, but you just, that things can happen very quickly. You know what I'm saying? And when the music stops, you better make sure you got a seat, So anyway, let me go to this. This is the final thing that we have here on what we're going to be talking about this evening. Let's see, close this window here because I have too many windows up. Let's see. Clayton, right. He said, with that said, make sure your phones are off and you're in a secluded room. Exactly. Anytime you have important discussions like that as a family, I'm glad you said that, Clayton. Anytime you have this conversations like that, the phone should not be in your house. I mean, in that room. It needs to be in another room. Because I was listening to someone just recently, they said even if you remove the battery out of your phone, they still can pick up your conversations. I'm saying if they wanted, if they, whoever they is, if they wanted to tap in and listen to what you're saying, they can do that. So you don't want now phone, you don't want no computer, shoot, not even, we got Apple TV. You don't even want the remote in there because the remote can pick up stuff. So you don't want to have anything like that. Just be somewhere, where it ain't, you talking on the low, because, we give away far too much information anyway to this demonic system. And, we gotta start thinking smart about these things. You know what I mean? Be giving away all your stuff. Anyway, last story here for the evening. Louisiana governor defends the 10 Commandments in schools mandate. The U.S. is founded on, here we go, Judeo-Christian values. Let's read that again. The U.S. is founded on Judeo-Christian values. A lot of times that just rolls off the tongue. People just say it, don't they? Not realizing what you're saying is Judaism. All right. Governor Jeff Landry is defending the state's mandate to display the 10 Commandments in classrooms, explaining that the United States was founded upon Judeo-Christian principles. I didn't know that the living 10 Commandments is a bad way to live, Landry told America's Reports on Friday. I didn't know that it was so vile to obey the 10 Commandments. I think it speaks volumes on how eroded this country has become. I mean, look at this country. It was founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and every time we steer away from that, we have problems in our nation. I mean, right now, schools basically treat kids like critters, and yet the 10 Commandments is something bad to put in schools. It's just amazing. It really is. Well, we've talked about this. First of all, the 10 Commandments, I mean, if you want to get down to it, number one, the 10 Commandments did not originate in the Bible. The 10 Commandments, oh man, do I really need to go here? Do I need to even go here? All right. Let's see. The 10 Commandments, they actually come out of, and I did, you have to dig in our community page. The 10 Commandments actually were, the inspiration behind them came from a much older list of ideas or commandments from Egypt. The 10 Commandments didn't just I know what the Bible says. Moses went up in the mountain and the lightning and the thunder and all that stuff. And then it was written on stone and all that stuff, right? But historically, We can accurately go historically and factually. Now, if you want to believe what the way the Bible presents it, that's your belief. But belief does not replace historical fact. It can't. It doesn't. All right. Not if you're a sane person. You got to go with historical fact. And going back many years, the Ten Commandments actually came from this thing called the 42 Ideas of Ma'at or Ma'at. All right. And this is this comes out of Egypt. So this is just extra here, but this isn't really the point I'm trying to make. I'm just showing you, this right here. So if you ever have time, take a look at this and do a side-by-side comparison between this and the Ten Commandments. You're going to see, wait a minute, this sounds too familiar. And this predates the Ten Commandments, period. Now, are those Ten Commandments, are they good things? I mean, that people should kind of keep in mind and try to use as some type of guide. I don't see anything necessarily wrong with them. You know what I mean? And if you go even further and go into look at these 42 ideas here, there's some other great things in here too. Some great things in here. So something that's going to make you a better person, that's going to, respect nature and respect people around you. I don't see the problem in it. That don't mean I'm sitting down and praising and worshiping Ma'at. You know what I mean? It just means that, for example, I honor virtue. I am peaceful. I live in truth. I can be trusted. I care for the earth. How is that? I spread joy. How are these evil things? Well, if you're spreading joy, you're just doing it because you're worshiping that God. No, I'm not. I want to be a person that spreads joy, period. I am forgiving. I am kind, right? I am, So that's number one there. That's just if you want to get to the history of it, I mean, that's where it comes from. But there's much more here. Now, he mentioned Judaism, right? Judeo-Christian nation. It's interesting that he says the Judaism part, because the Ten Commandments, what Judaism did was actually they took what they got out of Egypt, and they just ripped it and said, okay, we're going to start making our own thing, right? And so one of the things they did out of that was something else. It's called the Noahide laws. Oh man, someone asked me when I'm going to do a video on this. One day I will. The Noahide laws. Okay, these are what this is rules or laws or whatever that when you get into Judaism, they believe that was given to Noah by God. God gave him these things here. All right. And so here's the thing. They said, do not profane God's oneness in any way. Do not curse your creator. Do not murder. Do not eat a limb of a still living animal. Do not steal. Harness and channel the human libido. Establish courts of law and ensure justice in our world. Okay, so this right here, this is the biggie right here. Now, the Noahide laws, like I said, that when I would encourage you to take some time and do some good searches on that, like on that platform, Odyssey. You can do a search on Twitter. It'll come up with a lot of things as well. But again, this is really what the Judeo part of Judeo-Christianity, this is what they really are trying to push and trying to enforce in all the nations. I think we did a video a while back where we talked about how the United States, a couple of times, I know Biden did it at least twice, but there are many other presidents that came before him that actually declared a day honoring the Noahide laws. All right. Now, you may say, well, what's wrong with not profaning God's oneness in any way, or do not murder, do not eat a limb, and do not steal? What's wrong with that? Not really, but like anything in the Hebrew world, there's always tends to be multiple, reasons and stuff behind it. But what I have highlighted here is a biggie, because again, it says establish courts of law and ensure justice in our world. With every small act of justice, we are restoring harmony to our world, synchronizing it with the supernal order. That is why we must keep the laws established by our government for our country's stability and harmony. Now, what they're talking about here is you're seeing it in many forms. One form of it that you're seeing in, at least here in the United States, is not being critical of Israel. Now, there are many states in the United States right now, just in the United States, if you dare criticize Israel, you can be punished legally by the government, the local government. If you have a contract with the government, let's say it's the state of Florida, and let's say if, to the side, I have a business where we do contract work with the state of Florida. If they go through my social media and they see that I've been very critical of the Zionist movement and Israel, the state of Florida can say, nah, we're not going to do any more business with you. You know what I mean? Or you can get punished by that. There's other, and then you have like the state of Texas, for example, where if you say anything against Zionism, even on a college campus, it's punishable by law. So this is all encompasses the Noahide law. So by them pushing this whole, the 10 Commandments, you can see how they're greasing the skids more and more for what I just showed you, the Noahide laws. That's really where this is going. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is definitely where this is going. Now, you and I, we're regular folks, right? We're just plain folks. And we know that these kids can give a rip if you put 10 commandments, 20 commandments. It don't matter what you post on there in the classroom. The home life is screwed up. It just is. And it starts at home. It doesn't start in the classroom. So this nonsense, like, we going to make sure we put the 10 commandments right wherever we go. That ain't doing nothing. It really isn't. That's them honoring whoever it is that they ultimately worship. But that's not doing anything. It's always other meanings why they push these things. And it's not for good as you may think it is. They're greasing the skids for, because the next thing going to be like, okay, well, if we can have the 10 Commandments up, why can't we have the Noahide laws up? And so, oh man, there's so much we can talk about just with the court system, because you have Noahide laws now starting to show up in court cases and stuff like that. So it's slowly behind the scenes. It's really, it's really like controlling things and changing stuff. And this is why, like, I talk about the whole WNBA stuff, like stories like that, for example, because sometimes you got to show people, hey, listen, let's go through this. Let me calmly show you this ain't worth your time, dear. You need to be focused on this stuff. You know what I mean? Because this stuff is changing and it's changing fast. You know what I mean? Or, what they just passed that law about, enlisting automatically these, people in this demographic. You need to be planning on that. This WNBA stuff is garbage, man. I mean, at the end of the day, what's the point? Why are you investing in that? So that's it. As always, there's probably plenty more things we can talk about and go over or whatever. But I just wanted to, go. Those are some things that jumped out to me for this week, in this for this broadcast. And what an interesting time that we live in right now. Oh yeah, I was in the backyard this week. We had an opportunity. My son, I tell you, my son, he's can be very low key. Sometimes he can be too low key. I'm sitting here on the computer doing my thing, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, hey, check it out. Come here," like that. So it wasn't really. I was like, "Oh, okay." So I'm coming, but I wasn't like running or nothing. I was like, he's like, "Dad, come in," just like that. "Dad, come in." I was like, "Okay, I'm coming." And I get halfway to where I was like, "Well, where are you?" And then I figured out, oh, he's in the backyard. And then here come Nicole. "Dwayne, what you doing? You just moving like an old man." She just came out of the door. She's like, "Come on." I was like, whoa, what happened? That just went to 10. So anyway, I go. So I was like, oh, okay. So I went to the backyard, and yeah, I saw that whole Elon Musk, the rocket literally go right by. Maybe I'll close out on that. Let me see if I got the video on here. Yeah, that was interesting to see. To actually, because I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen videos, but that was the first time I actually saw, that, zipping across, like, wow, a real rocket going across the, literally I'm sitting in my backyard and watching this rocket go, by my house. And I thought it was interesting. So anyway, I think we're going to leave off on that. I'm leave off and show you this video. And I'm just airdropping it to my computer now. And that's it. So thank you again, you guys, for checking us out and tuning in. And if you have any questions, I'm just going to leave off, y'all, because anytime I go through the process, I'm going to open up the phone lines and all that. We just be staring at each other. Ain't nobody got time for that tonight. Okay. But anyway, we'll go ahead and finish off, and I'll show you what I saw in my backyard, this week. Yeah. And what's funny is we're looking at it. That thing, I didn't realize it's crazy. I'm looking at it, and I jumped on Twitter. The same time I'm looking at it, taking pictures, people in Florida, people in Southern California, they were looking at the same thing I was looking at. I was like, dang, that thing is that hot, So I thought that was fascinating. So anyway, we're going to leave off on that, and I'll show you the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. And you guys take care, and we'll be talking again soon. Take care now.
Whoa, look at that. Heck. There it is, that thing moving. It was strange, it's like a light trail. Why is the trail light? I know it's grainy here, but yeah. See that? That's the trail there. Like, I'm trying to figure out how is that? Why is that still light?